Okay. We live right now, man. Thank y'all for having us on. Thank you. This is Mindset Therapy Real Talk Podcast at 7 o'clock on this Tuesday, man. Thank you. Thank you again for coming on, man. I have a few guests on here, surprising guests. I have my co-host with me again tonight, man. I have another guest on as part of the brotherhood. And guess what? We about to do some real amazing things here with your guest, Mr. Mindset Therapy himself, man. Here at Mindset Therapy, we help men, women, and children believe in themselves again. We offer 7 simple strategies to developing a positive mindset, and we stand on that. What's up? What's happening, man? Y'all can be anywhere else, but y'all here with us, man. Yeah, your boy, Mr. Mindset Therapy. I have my special guest on, man. I'm unbelievably grateful and happy to introduce you to Mr. Kevin Thornton, one of the R&B singers from Color Me Bad. If you're under a certain age, you wouldn't get it, but if you come from where I come from and you my age, hey, you know what it is.
Awesome,
Uh,
man.
I'm gonna pass it to my co-host, man, Mr. Ray Hope. Do your thing, baby.
Right. Good afternoon again. You guys could be anywhere, but you're here with us. Uh, and it is truly a blessing. We give all glory and honor to God for allowing us this platform, first and foremost, for allowing us this day. We don't take it for granted. So here at Mindset Therapy, from true testimony, real testimonies, we identify the problem, we come up with a resolution, and we try to provide resources to cure, to rid whatever that problem is that we've identified. And having said that, I don't want to occupy too much time. Our special guest, Color Me Bad, Kevin Thornton. Yeah, welcome.
It's on you, Mr. Kevin.
Y'all there?
Right.
Yeah.
On you.
All right.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it
That-
just it blacked out. Did
Yeah,
y'all?
blacked out. It's on you though, Mr. Kevin. It's all right. I got you.
Okay. Is something I need to do?
You good. You good. Go ahead. Just
Okay. All right. Oh, so
introduce
just
yourself.
okay. Let me
Yeah.
introduce myself. All right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, see, that's what I was telling you. I mean, I don't know what God is going to do. Most uh everything that happens, in the kingdom, man, it's just the majority of it is you just showing up and then just seeing what God does. You know what I'm saying? So, like I told y'all before we actually went live, is that I feel like God is gonna do something pretty amazing tonight, not knowing what He's going to do, but I've been attacked, just right before coming on, and here it is, right before you introduce me, it goes
You
black. So, you know, the devil's mad, and that's all right. That's all right,
yeah.
as long as we're lifting up the name of Jesus. So, a lot of people are familiar with my background, me being in the group Color Me Bad. I'm one of the founding members of the group. But as I mentioned to you as we chopped it up um, last night, and Jesus is everything to me. His impact on my life was so powerful that it changed the trajectory of my life, and I've never been the same since. So, do you want me to just kind of go into things, or you all have any questions for me or anything?
Yeah.
How y'all
But
gonna
look,
do?
check. I just want to tell you this, and like I said, man, we are be laid back, man. You can do you. We not no preachers, pastors, biblical scholars. We believe,
Yeah,
we spiritual.
yeah,
We don't
yeah.
stand on the rock, but we know how good God is because God has worked in each one of our lives in a different way, but in the same
Right,
way because we're not the person who we were then.
right, right.
I was blessed to hear your story, man. It was powerful, but it's one thing that people will never know. I see the glow on you. I see that,
Oh wow.
I see it. So it's an understatement saying, "Oh God, then I can see it." Like I
Yeah.
told my brother all the time, man. When you call someone your brother, your friend, your family, is an action word. All of those words are action words. So you can say what you want, but when you show a person how much you care, how much you love, is everything. So
Yes.
I'm gonna gather my questions as you go on. I had some questions I built up from yesterday, but
Okay.
I want you
All
to
right.
just answer the
So I'll
people.
just jump in.
Let
I'll
them
just
know.
jump into kind of the origin a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about that and then move towards, where I am today. So the group started in Oklahoma City. Now I'm originally from Amarillo, Texas, small little city out here in the Panhandle. Um, and my dad's job moved us to Oklahoma City, and I was heavy into sports, primarily football. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to play football for the Dallas Cowboys. And then, then I just stopped growing at some point. And I ended up at a school, a junior high, that did not have a football team. So I got into, as an elective, I got into drama. And truthfully, I was smart, but I was just kind of, I don't know why. Yeah, I guess it was my first time at a public school. I had been going to these Catholic schools before. My dad was Catholic, uh, and this was just a new. You know how it is. You trying to impress the new friends or trying to figure out how to fit in and this, that, and the other. So I was literally, I was smart, but nobody knew it. Like the teachers thought that I needed to be in special ed courses, right? I ain't gonna lie, because I just wasn't doing my work or anything like that until I started singing. And the way that I started singing was this: all my friends were in choir, and they were like, "Hey, hey, hey, won't you get in the choir?" And I was like, "Nah, I ain't." Truthfully, I was like, "Singing is for sissies. I ain't trying to say. I what." I want to play sports and this, that, and the other. And so, as it would be, this young lady, Christine Wallace, young lady, I'm sorry, this girl, she ended up coming to school, and she was new as well. And she got into choir. I don't know what it was, man. I was shy back then, and I was typically a shy person all around, but I just, something in me, I needed to go holler at Christine. So I auditioned for the choir, and the teacher saw that um, had a gift, and he began to develop that gift as I continued in the chorus. I became one of the star soloists, and I ended up getting the girl. So it was pretty cool event. But that's where I met um, Brian Abrams. Like the year afterwards, I guess it was. No, that same year is my eighth grade year. Brian Abrams came. I think he was in the seventh grade. I was in the eighth grade. He was the lead singer of Color Me Bad. Brian used to look up to me at that particular time. I had like all the solos and got a lot of attention and things like that. Then I of course graduated and moved on to high school. I transferred out of the high school, out of the district that I was supposed to go to, and ended up going to Northwest Classen High School, which ultimately was the same high school that Brian ended up going to. So we reconnected when he got into high school, and we were in choir together. And before long, at some point, he approached me. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. I met these guys, man. We're thinking about starting a group." So apparently, he had a guy that he was singing with, and or two guys that he was singing with, and then he met Mark, who had a guy that he was singing with, and then they asked me, and you know, I finally gave in and said, "Yeah, all right, I'll do it." So we ended up learning this commercial, the jingle for this commercial for Levi's 501 Blues. It goes, string to fit and a button fly to oh, Levi's 501 Blues. And when we hit the harmony, man, the girls went crazy. It was the Boy Talent show. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I stood on the stage thinking, Joe, if I open my mouth and sing, and these girls react like this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Forget sports. This is it right here,
Yeah.
And so the end of the year came. Two of the guys ended up graduating, so they weren't going to be in the group, and one guy ended up moving. He and his family moved, so it just left Mark, Brian, and myself. And the following year, we decided we wanted to continue singing. So we knew we needed to get another person, somebody to sing the high parts. I had the low parts, the bass. Um, uh, Brian, of course, had the lead, and then Mark had the second tenor. We needed a first tenor, somebody to sing that higher part. So Brian was like, just whoever we get, just get anybody. We'll teach them the high parts. So I remember being a teacher's aide for my math. For my math teacher, she sent me actually to another math teacher to help in their class, and I was passing out the tests and stuff, and I ain't acting like I was, just daddy cool or nothing like that. But I saw in that class the nerdiest guy I had ever seen. I was like, this guy is so nerdy, it's so weird. I mean, the way he was dressed and everything, and I was just like, and it was the whole parachute pants, the breakdance look, but he didn't look the part. So I get back with Mark and Brian, and we began talking about, has anybody found anybody? And Mark says, yeah, I got my best friend. And I had just told him about this guy that I had seen in the math class, the nerdy guy. And Mark said, here he comes right now. And I looked, and lo and behold, it was that same guy that I was laughing at, making fun of. And so it's Sam Watters. Well, Sam ended up becoming a real phenomenal singer. He learned the part really well, and there was just a really tight blend. So much so that we would sing a cappella in the halls and in the bathrooms, the men's room at our school, and girls were actually coming into the boys' room, and the principal would tell us we would have to stop singing and stuff because people weren't going to class, right? So we that was cool. We entered into various contests and competitions, like other high schools and stuff, and then that led into going to universities and trying to compete, and citywide competitions. And then we're just like, you know what, we think we can make it. We didn't know how we were going to do it. We didn't know what the plan was going to be. We just had it in our hearts that we're going to make it. And so what we did was we made a point. We learned, we studied the game. We studied how, when artists came into town, what their movements were. A lot of people were chasing the limousines, and we realized, okay, they're actually on the tour bus. They wait for the limousines to go, and then we wait backstage for them to come on the tour bus, and we would sing for them right then and there. We did that with a lot of people: Huey Lewis in the News, Ronnie Millsap, Sheila E., Karen White, for some of y'all who remember some of these people. But nothing really came up of it. Actually, one of the biggest ones was John Bon Jovi of the rock band Bon Jovi. I had or we had graduated high school at that particular time, and Brian and I were working at a movie theater, and um, Brian was off that particular night, and I knew we were always hanging with each other, so I knew he was with the other guys. And I saw this guy that looked kind of like John Bon Jovi, but I was like, nah, I ain't with no John. But what is he gonna be doing at the mall here in Oklahoma City? I haven't heard about the concert or anything. So lo and behold, I turned around because I was tearing tickets, and I see on his back of their jackets, it says Bon Jovi World Tour. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I faked being sick, called the guys and said, y'all gotta get up here right now. And so we ended up sitting through two movies. One of them was the movie, I don't know if y'all remember the Morgan Freeman movie, Lean on Me. We sat through that and another one. And then we caught him. And we had Brian. Brian would walk up to anybody. We had Brian go up to him and say, "Hey, listen, can we sing for you?" And he was like, "Man, this is my off day, blah blah blah." We're like, "We don't want anything from you, just listen." So we took him into the mall area, and if you understand why, the acoustics was just amazing. We hit that harmony. Our voices were bouncing off the wall, and he said, "All right, y'all sound pretty good, pretty good. But how you think you'll sound in front of 50,000 people?" He said, "I want you all to open the show for us." So we got to sing a cappella a cappella at a rock concert, you know. So that story was also part of our history. Another person that actually um, was beneficial was Cool in the Gang. So Cool in the Gang did a concert out in Oklahoma City, and they had this event for like it's cool to be in school, and they were meeting some of the students that had like perfect attendance. Now, none of us had perfect attendance, um, but uh, but a couple of guys. I was actually at a church service, and the guys had gone and met them, snuck in, met them, sung for them, and then they called me and said, "Hey, man, can you rush down here?" So I went down there, and we sang for the road manager, and he ended up liking us. Told Cool from Cool and the Gang about us, and they ended up giving us another manager as well. So the road manager and his partner became our manager, and they in 1989 flew us to New York so that we could try to land a record deal. So we kept going and going and going because we had, truthfully, because the group was primarily to the eye, it was Caucasian with this one black guy, but we had a soulful sound. They didn't really know what to do with it. So a lot of people passed on us. And but finally we got the ear of Giant Records. And at that particular time, Giant was hosting the soundtrack for a movie called New Jack City. And uh we ended up having, you know, a song on that particular soundtrack. But the song that we ended up doing, I Want to Sex You Up, was not the song that we originally were supposed to do. We were originally supposed to do the song that Christopher Williams ended up doing. If I'm dreaming, just let me sleep. Don't wake me up till my dream is complete. You know, so that was the song we were supposed to do until Gary Harris from Giant Records came with this other producer, and he was like, "Hey, Freeze, you know, throw in that Sex You Up joint." And we heard it, and we're like, "No, that's the song we actually want to do." And it's an interesting story behind it because there are two versions of that particular song. Um, One went on the New Jack City album, and one went on our album. Um, but the way that happened is really interesting because uh, when we first heard the song, it was on a what is called a performance track. It just had like the music and the backgrounds. It didn't have any lyrics to the verses or anything like that. So when we agreed to do it, we wrote our own verses to it. When we got time to go record it, Dr. Freeze was late. He was, a couple hours late to the session. And so we just went in and just laid our vocals. When he got there, he was like, we were like, hey, we finished the song. And he was like, oh, cool, let me hear it. He played it, and it wasn't his version. He had another version. And he was like, what is this? He got so upset. And so he was like, no, 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 that's not it. That's not it. So he had Brian go back into the booth, and he fed Brian the falsetto. Come inside the hall. You know that one. Uh, the falsetto version, he fed it line by line to him. And Brian just laid a dummy track, a demo track on it with the promise that he was going to go back and actually sing it for real. Well, guess what? We never got that opportunity. So, truthfully, what you all heard as the hit single was a demo. That was a demo, and it was just he was not happy. Brian's a perfectionist when it comes to the vocals. So so anyway, we ended up that song. Nobody, I promise you, nobody knew what that song was going to do. Anybody that we let hear it, they didn't know how to take it. It was either because it was right in the middle. It wasn't fast, it wasn't slow or whatever. So we were as surprised as everybody when it actually hit. And the reason that it hit was because at that particular time, you remember, there wasn't the internet. Uh, so radio would break a record. Radio would make or break you. So the more times that they play it, the better it was for the artist. So people would hear the song off the movie and started calling the radio station. Who is that singing? Who is that? What is? People didn't even know what we looked like, and next thing you know, it hit, and then we had to start playing catch up, and we got on the Club MTV tour and several different tours. We toured a couple of times with Paula Abdul, and we were just killing the game. I mean, like we were killing. I don't want to try to. I don't want to sound conceited, but like our live was everything. I mean, our band was amazing, and then we had a real strong stage presence, because we just generally had fun on the road. With that came, of course, a lot of temptations. I went from being like the shy guy. I grew up in church, but I only knew really religion. Nobody really told me that there's a deeper relationship with God. Just going to church, going through the motions and things like that. Uh, but that kind of kept me out of trouble, like during high school, especially sexually, right? So I didn't lose my virginity until I was a senior in high school. And what happened was I was really trying to save myself for marriage, right?
Right.
When I got into the group, I'm like, I tell people all the time, listen, you can be buck tooth, cross eyed, and walk with a hump on your back. And if you got a hit record, man, some of the finest females are gonna come holler at you. And that's what I started noticing. It was just like, man, my the standard of female went from here to like here. It was just amazing. And I was like a kid in the candy store. It was just a brand new world for me. But that developed a sexual addiction. So people are often, I've even been criticized saying, sexual addiction. All guys are addicted to sex, but what it is like this. It's no different than any kind of alcohol or drug abuse that you try to stop. If you even try to stop, but it's got a stronghold on you. And before I even knew what strongholds were, that's what was going on with me, because I started getting this pull, even though I hadn't committed my life to the Lord. I had to, my conscience was weighing on me, doing the right thing as opposed to doing what I felt was right. And so a lot of times I would just get ready for a show and be in the shower and just pray a prayer like, God forgive me for what I'm gonna do tonight, what I know I'm gonna do tonight. And you know that prayer is garbage. But uh the thing of it is that I just kept moving on with it, and I just started saying to myself or to God, uh well, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't gang bang, I ain't murdering anybody. So, you know, all I do is sex. So if that's so bad, I deal with it when I get to heaven with you. We'll talk about it then. And I
Hey,
just
Kev,
kept on doing my stuff. Yes, sir.
I don't. I got this burning desire. I need to just ask you
No,
this.
no, no, go ahead.
What was the final factor that made you decide to step away from just all that what you just said? The clown, the women, the money.
It was a process, bro. It was a process because what was happening was I I had what the world calls success, right? The fame, money, females, what I mean. But I had a lot of different females like around the country, right? Um, but when the tours and stuff was over, I was by myself. You know what I mean? So over the period of time, it just didn't fulfill me. It was like there's got to be something more. There's got to be something more. And then what happened was I went overseas and I started having a transformation, but not in a good way. It was a very negative way. So I was in a hotel, and in the nightstand was a book. Normally in America, that would be the Holy Bible in the nightstand drawer, but this one was a book of Buddha, like the origin of Buddha and whatever the teachings, I guess. It was. So I started reading about the origin of Buddha, and all of a sudden, I was like, man, there's some similarities to Christianity. So I started saying, well, maybe Oprah Winfrey's right. Maybe there are a lot of paths to God. I'm a Christian because excuse me, I was born in America. If I was in India, I'd probably be Hindu, Middle East, probably Muslim, and so on and so forth. So I was like, we just put God in a box. So I stopped calling myself a Christian and started calling myself a truth seeker. And I just pretty much just walked away from Jesus. And God allowed me to sit in that for a little bit, and then He started like peeling things away, all the things that I put my hope and my trust in. My goal was just to enjoy doing this music and stuff, make as much money as I possibly can, have a fine wife and a family, and just retire and just live life. And that's it. And that was it. But God had different plans for me. So He allowed things that become, in hindsight, that were idols to be destroyed. Everything, whether it been relationships, whether it been the girls, whether it been the fame, the money, all of that started falling apart. And me trying to keep it together was like trying to grasp the wind.
Mm.
And I just couldn't do it. And so I started getting into this depression. We found out that um, you know, our managers and their team that they had around us were not doing right by us, and that caused a lot of problems, even with us as friends and things like that. And so, after a time, I just knew I needed to get back to God, to get right, to find some sort of peace, but I didn't know how. So I did what I knew, what I grew up with, religion. So I gotta go to a church. So I would just go to any church that was open, uh, any program that I heard about. Um, I bought myself a Bible and began to try to read the Bible. I never liked reading the Bible. It was boring. If I wanted to go to sleep, I would read the Bible and it would definitely put me to sleep. You know what I mean? Because I was reading it like a novel. But you gotta allow the Holy Spirit to show you life and give you revelation. I learned that later on in life. So what happened was I I was going through the motions and things. Meanwhile, trying to settle down a little more. You know what I mean? Trying not to be so wild, keeping my eye open for a wife, right? So a wifey material, right? So uh at a point it came to a head June of 1997. And that's when my sister got beat up really bad by this guy, and I was contemplating having something done to him really, really, really bad, because he started sending messages to me like, Kevin ain't gonna do nothing, blah, 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 blah. And, I mean, I ain't from the streets and nothing like that, but, we all men, we got pride and all of that kind of stuff. And so I talked to a rival gang member that didn't like him about getting some stuff together and trying to take care of this guy, because I knew I couldn't do it, because I'm not the cool dude that can do dirt and get away with it. I'm always gonna get caught. Uh, and so God used that when my sister got into and I got into an argument over her relationship with him even after that incident. And and I was just like, I was so frustrated at that point. I was just done. It was like the final straw for me. And I just remember being in my mom and dad's house. I had moved back in, trying to regroup. I was in a room by myself. Nobody was around me. And I was so frustrated with life because I wanted my life to be over. I was miserable. But I knew I wasn't going to kill myself, but I wanted God to kill me. And I just finally just dropped to my knees on the side of the bed. I opened up the Bible, didn't even know where I was going to go. And it's like the words on the page were just scrambling all over the place. I couldn't concentrate. That frustrated me. So I slammed the Bible closed. I stood up in anger. No, I'm sorry. Even before that, I began to pray, and it felt like my prayers were going nowhere. It was just like my prayers were muffled in that room. And I finally just stood up in anger and was just screaming out to God, Jesus, if you real, I need to know the truth. I need to know. I don't even know if you real. I don't even know if I've been hearing about you all my life, but are you who you really say that you are? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you keep saying my life is so displeasing to you. I'm sleeping with this woman, and this, that, and the other. And truthfully, because of my addiction, I ended up with three baby mamas, uh, three different children from three different women. At that particular time, one was in New York, one was in Oklahoma, and there was a young lady pregnant in California at that particular time. And unfortunately, and I like to keep it real, there were others, uh, but the young ladies chose to have an abortion. And guess what? I wasn't man enough to fight for my children at that time. It was an inconvenience for me, as far as I looked at it. And um, I'm a changed man. I don't say that proudly, but I keep it real about who I was and where I was. So, but at that point, I was just like, God, I mean, I don't know if you real, but you know, if you want to be the Lord and Savior of my life, you got to change me. You got to change my life. You know what I mean? Because I said, the more I try to do right, the worse things get. And I said this out loud. I was saying all this out loud, but I screamed this. I can't do it.
Mm.
That was the change, because at that moment, God, not in condemnation, but in love, entered into my dimension and met me right where I right where I was. He met me there when I didn't deserve him to. I did not just. I had walked away from him, and he loved me enough to meet me there. And I heard these words, so beautiful, so loving. I heard the words, "Now I have you where I need you." When I said I can't do it, at that moment I realized two things. Number one, the son recognized the voice of the daddy. I recognized God's voice, even though nobody had ever told me that God would speak to you in today's days. Number two, I realized that apart from Christ, I was merely existing. And I got tired of existing. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I finally, in that moment, I wanted to live. Remember, I wanted to die before. I said, I want to live now. I want to live. I want to live. And so, um, so I said to this, I said, if you want me to change, you got to change me. If you want me to stop sleeping around with these women, having children out of wedlock and all of that, you've got to you got to change. Uh, you got to change my heart. And I said, you've got to give me a godly wife because I can't try to save the world for you and fight her at the same time. I said that, not realizing I said that because I stopped. And I was like, whoa, what did I just say? Wow, what? And so a revelation and reveal came to me. And these are all the things that led up to me leaving. A revelation came to me uh of who God is. I was like, you know what? If you're truly who you say you are, you love me on a level that I cannot comprehend. And if that's true, you actually want to bless me more than I want to be blessed. And if that's true, I can trust you. So forget what I want. Please send me what I need. Because truthfully, I wanted to settle down. I wanted to get married. But here were my criteria for a marriage. It wasn't going to be a white uh, lady, because everybody was always saying, as soon as a brother gets make it, they go get a white woman. Although the woman that was pregnant in California was white, right? So uh, she, in my mind, needs to be black or Hispanic, beautiful face, slamming body, just front, boom, and back happening. And she wanted to just do me all the time. And hopefully we could get along. You know what I mean? That was my criteria. I ain't gonna lie. I was just carnal, just like that. That's it.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I realized, if you who you say you are, and I can trust you, send me what I need, not what I want. Because truthfully, truth be told, I mean, what I thought I wanted, that wasn't doing well for me. Hadn't done well for me so far, right? So God then gave me a vision. I'm a visual person. So God communicates a lot of times to me in visions and dreams and things like that, analogies and images and things like that. So I was standing in the middle of the room and literally my mind went to, I saw like a black and white, like I was in a in the old black and white times, like a television or whatever, and it was a black and white TV set, and it's like the camera kept zooming in, closer and closer, and the closer it got, the clearer the picture got, and as it gets closer, I realized, oh, I'm watching this chuck wagon, the covered wagon. I'm watching that go through the desert. And as it gets closer and closer, I see the horses, and then it gets closer and closer. I see someone is driving the horses. Then it zooms in even closer. I see that it's me. And Jesus is sitting next to me or standing. He was standing right next to me. And I had the reins of these horses. And I saw myself turn and hand those reins to Jesus. And I knew in that moment I was turning over the reins of my life to Jesus. Then I saw this other vision. It was a huge body of water. And instinctively, I knew that this body of water represented this new life in Christ. And I told him, I said, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do. But I said, if you want me, you got to take me just as I am with my sexual addictions, with my anger issues, with my bad mouth. My mouth was so bad. I used to cuss so much. I had to train myself how to speak a sentence without cussing. That's how bad my mouth was. My insecurities, um, everything. I said, you got to take me just as I am. I said, I'm going to jump into this thing with both feet. So, God, if I drown, it's your fault. But from this day forward, wherever you want me to go, I'll go. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. All I ask is that you go with me. And I've never looked back. Now, the thing of it is that it was important for me to be present in my children's lives, right? Um, my kids were the only thing I really knew to love. Except for my grandma. I'll say that I did love my grandma tremendously. Um, the woman that was pregnant in California, I made arrangements to drive out. God made it to where I had to drive out and couldn't fly out. I had to drive from Oklahoma City to Northern California for the birth of my child because it was important for my child to know who her daddy was. And as it would happen, and I just started spending more and more time with the mother, and we became like a little family. The enemy had me believing that I could not be in a meaningful relationship that was going to last. So I just kind of didn't want to jinx anything, even though I started catching feelings for this young lady. And that was June 3rd is when I ended up going out there. Um, July the 12th, I finally made the decision to just give it a shot. Hey, we're gonna just try to do this thing. We won't know unless we just give it a shot. And immediately, and she's a white lady, all of that racism lifted off of me at that moment. And then a respect came upon me for her. And in that moment, I said to myself, I'm gonna be faithful to her for a week. You know what I mean? And because I was always cheated on all the girls, and that 1 week turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks turned into a month turned into 6 months, and by the end of the year, November the 14th, we were married, and so we've been married in November will be 28 years. So that was a blessing.
Wow.
And then it
Wow.
wasn't until the following year that so God let me sit in that. I was converted. I was on fire for the Lord. I told everybody, hey, listen, I just gave my life to Christ. Whenever he calls me out, I'm out. I'm out. But God allowed me to sit for a year still in the group. You know what I mean? And I was convicted, man, because I'm serving the Lord on Sundays, but throughout the week, man, I'm in nightclubs, you know, signing women's. They want me to sign, like their breasts and stuff, trying to hook up and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, God, I don't know what you want to do. What is going to please you? Do you want me to stay in the music industry or you want me to leave? And God said, Kevin, I'm gonna bless you, but when I bless you, not even color me bad will be able to take credit for it. And so I was like, oh man, that's cool, God, but I don't know what that means. I need you to make it plain. Do you want me to stay? Or do you want me to go? And he didn't say anything. So October 31st, 1998, a friend of mine, he was a member of the Potter's House. He decided that he was going to give an alternative to celebrating Halloween to anybody who wanted to come. So he rented out a nightclub in Dallas, Texas, and he had Christian rap, Christian singing, Christian dance, and he had this youth pastor that I had never met before, and we had made introductions just right before. But the thing of it is, I agreed that I would go to that event. Simultaneously, one of the guys in the group, who actually at that time lived in Richardson, Texas, said, "Hey, we got the contracts in, the management contracts. The biggest manager in the industry at that time was a man by the name of Johnny Wright, who was very instrumental in the success of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And he was interested in us. He sent out the contracts. I told Mark, I said, listen, I promised to go to this event tonight. He said, no, don't worry about it. I'll be up. Just come over afterwards. I said, bet, I'll do that. I went to this event, and when this young man, the youth pastor, started preaching, he preached on the music industry. He preached on the devil's influence in the music industry, how it started out in like the metal rock, and how it was transitioning, and it hadn't even happened yet, how it was transitioning into hip hop, into the black community, you know. And the more he talked, the more convicted I got. Then he stopped, he finished his message, and he began to give words of knowledge. I had never heard that before. I'd never heard of people prophesying this stuff. So he began to talk to people, certain people that were in the audience or in the congregation. And when he did that, that's when Jesus spoke to me as clearly as I've ever heard him. Jesus said to me, now is the time. And I knew he was talking about to leave the music industry. So I was like, not now, God. We about to sign with Johnny Wright. What? Now? And he's like, whatever you give up for me, I'll increase you double. And so I even tried to negotiate with her. Lord, what about my wife? I'm 1 month shy of our first wedding anniversary. She lived in apartments, the majority of her life, and I just built this house from the ground up in Garland, Texas, off the golf course. All I have to do is put in the carpet and move in. If I leave the music industry now, I'm not gonna be able to afford this house. God said, Jesus said, whatever you give up for me, I'll increase you double. That was the second time he said it. But this time he said, but you have a choice. He said,
So,
you can stay in the music industry. You'll make more money than you've ever made in your life, but you'll lose everything. And when he said the words everything, my eyes were closed because Craig had the youth minister named Craig Lewis had everybody close their eyes, and then I heard my name audibly. I heard Kevin, and I was like looking up like this because I had just been arguing with Jesus, and I was freaking out. I thought Jesus was gonna be standing right there, but it was Craig. He wasn't even in front of me. He was at the mic. Watch this. He said, the Holy Spirit has a spiritual loophole ready for you to jump through if you'll just go through it. He said, forget about the contracts. And at that moment, I'm like this, like, how did he know about the contracts? What? And so he finished up, He told anybody who wanted to go get prayer to meet backstage.
Oh,
As I'm heading backstage, I didn't tell anybody about this argument or this negotiation, if you will,
negotiation.
that I had with Jesus. My wife said, "You got to leave the music industry now." I was like, "Why did you just say those words? Why?" She said, "God just told me that if you didn't leave the music industry now, our marriage would not last." Then, as I'm heading to the back, I'm almost like a zombie now, just like,
Right.
what is happening? I had to go through these two big double doors that were open, and it had an exit sign above it. And there was this on the other side of the door was this desk, and this black guy that I had never met before was sitting on top of the desk, just kind of lounging. And he looked at me and he said, "Brother, I don't know you from this exit sign, but God has a word for you, radical. Make a radical change." And I'm like, what is going on? And God said to me, "You asked me to make it plain."
Wow.
I was, it
Wow.
might be true, but I didn't ask you to freak me out in the process. Couldn't you have been a little more subtle? Write a note or something, like, what in the world? But he made it absolutely plain. And I went and asked for prayer, and it was like with a death, they say that your life flashes before you. It was like the death of that chapter of my life at that particular time. I saw every event that we had gone through from, as kids in high school. Everything was flashing right before me, and I'm weeping. And then all of a sudden, a peace came upon me. That peace lasted for 3 days. And in that 3 days, I can't even explain it. Like my senses, like my visual senses were
Right.
enhanced. Everything was like a deep, like purple was a deep purple. Green was like this deep green. I can't even
Mm.
explain it, but that's what was going on. And instead of going over to Mark's house and signing the contracts, I got everybody on the phone and I told them, "God has called me to leave the music industry. I wish I could continue this journey with you, but I can't. I'm tired of fighting God. This is the direction He wants me to go. I love you guys, but I've got to go." And I quit that night, October 31st, 1998. Little did I know, hours later, Sam Watters would end up leaving as well. And he ended up becoming a very successful songwriter and producer as well. So that's how I ended up leaving, you know. And God has moved me from various places. There's nothing truly glamorous about my life. He sends me places where I can serve, you know, jobs. He told me, at times I feel like, God, am I not doing all that I should be doing? Because there's no light camera actions around me anymore. And he's like, "I trust you. I'm sending you where nobody else wants to go." So it's humbling, but it's
It's that.
so rewarding. And that's one of the fruits. One of the fruits. I wouldn't even be on this podcast with you guys today if I wasn't in the position working with someone right now that knows who does he know? He knows Herb.
Mhm.
Herb knows you guys.
Correct.
That connection. And so I'm saying, I stopped trying to figure out, God, how you gonna do it. But I'm just like, God, what are you up to? What is actually going on? What
Right.
is happening when he starts making these connections? That's why when I heard you guys' heart, I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's go.
Right. 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 So again, man, thank you for that testimony. I'm certain
Yes,
there are
sir.
many people that are listening that can resonate with your story. Like I always say, like we always say on this story, our stories aren't our stories anymore. Our stories are to be spat in hopes of deterring anyone in similar situations. God is no respecter of person. What he done for me, color me bad, I want to sex you up, he can do for you.
That's right.
And just listening to your testimony, man, and I may be inaccurate, but we prayed before we came on. And
Yes,
one of
sir.
the words that came, one of the sentences that came through that prayer was, God, give me the words. So when I'm fixing to say what I'm fixing to say, God has given me those words. I felt like God used you, the shy guy from
Yes.
Amarillo, Oklahoma City, put you on a platform to get recognized by so
Hold
many
on, hold on,
all
hold on.
over the
Wait
world.
1 second. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because I want to hear it. I can't hear you. Hello?
Can you
Wait
hear
a
me?
minute. Wait. What is going on? That
But
shouldn't
God,
happen.
but God. One thing about mindset therapy, we squabble over
No,
here,
no,
man.
no,
Anybody
no.
that's been rolling with us, we squabble,
That's right.
you know,
That's right.
and the devil is a lie. You know,
Yes,
he may
indeed.
intervene
Oh,
momentarily.
okay.
Yeah,
I'm
but we
tired.
squabble over here. So can you hear
I'm
me, brother?
I'm sorry. Yeah. It was like it went mute, and I
Yeah,
want right when you start speaking.
yeah.
So
So
I want
I'll
so I
run it
want.
back. I'll
All
run
right,
it back.
please.
So, like I said, we had conducted a prayer prior to coming on,
Yes, sir.
and
Yes,
one of the sentences in that prayer was, "God, give me the words." And so, when I was formulating in my mind what I'm about to say, I was quickly reminded of our prayer. And you spoke
yes.
about letting go and let God, so that's what I'm about to do. Uh, I feel that a shy guy from Amarillo, Texas, Oklahoma City, that God used you. Unbeknownst to you, he had a plan. God had a plan.
Yes, sir.
God took this shy guy and he put him on the biggest of stages, the biggest of platforms,
Yes,
to
sir.
bring in all the sheep. Here's your herder. Put your eyes on you. Be reminded, a herder, just like a pastor, just like a coach, just like the quarterback, just like the gang member, he's responsible for his flock. When he opens his mouth, he's responsible for his flock. So at the time, you were regurgitating, I want to sex you up.
Yeah.
So they thought, oh, yeah. And you spoke about your addiction to
Mm,
sex. But God had a plan once again. And God stripped you and he humbled you, like
mhm.
so many, myself included.
Yes, sir.
And he has placed you where you are today. But guess what? I heard you say there's nothing glamorous about you now. You're just, Kevin Thornton.
Yes, sir.
But God, but God. See, I spoke with you prior,
Yes, sir.
and I know the the etc. What you're doing at present.
Yes,
And
sir.
again, God makes no mistake. God is no respecter of person. What he will do for Kevin Thornton, he'll do for myself. He'll do for Herbert
Sir.
Johnson. He'll do for Anthony Loma. He'll do for the viewers that are listening. You just have to keep the faith. All you had, Kevin, was the faith of a mustard seed. You didn't
Yes.
know how. You confessed on the show. Hey, man, it was bigger than me. It was stronger than me. I thought
Yes.
I had it, but it was much bigger than me. But God just took his time watering you. I don't know if you really know my story. I did 30 years of incarceration, 30 calendar, 11,291 days of imprisonment,
Mm,
maximum security.
mm.
When I got sentenced, they said life, Life. They thought they had buried me. Little do they know they planted a seed.
Mm.
Mm, mm,
God had to break me to heal me. And there's a phrase that I have posted on one of my social media sites. I grabbed it from Tupac, and I'm going to certainly give him his credit. He said, even a flower can grow from concrete if watered and given a chance. God broke me, God healed me, God gave me a second chance.
Yeah.
Again, life sentence, not 10 years, not a 30-year sentence, life sentence. I had to do 30 years to get before the parole board to say yes or no. They could have said no, and it turned into another 30 years. I could have
Yes.
died, but like yourself, Herb like yourself, Anthony like yourself, viewers like yourself. God had a plan for me.
Yes. Yes.
Hey man, phenomenal story. Once again, thank you for coming on. I know my members on the panel, they have some questions, you know what I'm saying? But man, shout out to you, man. And I look forward. I look forward to working with you going forward.
Yes,
But
sir.
God, but
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing what God has, what doors he opens. You know, I live by that.
Most
God,
definitely.
open the doors you want open and close the doors you want shut.
That's what
Correct.
you said. That's what you said. That's exactly what you said. And brother, can I say, it's hard to. I mean, I'm captivated just by your movie. Your movie. It's a movie. It's not
Mhm.
just a testimony. It's a movie. And you know how many people that suffer from that same addiction, but ashamed to say something,
Yeah.
ashamed to say this and say that. Everybody had their own struggle. Everybody had their own struggle. Just like my struggle could have been your struggle, and your struggle could have been mine.
Correct.
Yeah.
But God,
But God.
life and death is a thin line between that. It's a very thin line. And people walk around every day and don't understand, man. You don't know how close you is to death, but again, you don't know how close you is to life.
Yes.
I call them the walking dead sometimes because they just don't know.
Yeah.
They, they're not even here. You just existing. You're not even living. Quote
Yeah.
that from my mom. Stop just living and be alive. Stop being alive and live.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. You got to understand what you have. God has positioned you because somebody out there need to hear your story. Need to watch your movie. Need to see the stage play. Need to see so many things. Need to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's there, my
Well,
brother. It's there.
well, I
It's there.
see.
Like you said, color me blessed. Color me blessed, man. It ain't color me bad no more. It's color me blessed.
Amen.
So I'm here to say, bro, man, you've been uh, excellent, excellent. Uh, I'm speechless, man, because I was moved beginning, man, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna go ahead and let her come in and do his thing. But one thing I got out that, and I'm gonna say it, and I know everybody gonna feel it. The one thing I heard you say
Mm-hmm.
that gave God His power, you surrendered.
Most
Come on,
definitely.
man.
You surrendered. You gave Him the will.
Yeah.
You let go and let
Yeah.
go.
But
And you just
God.
powerful in my life because that's how I had to do it. I had to surrender. Everything I touched, I crushed it. I destroyed it. I messed up.
Yeah.
I never got it right. But until I let go and let God, and I do it so well now, if you don't know me, you think I don't care. But it's not that I don't care. I'm more emotional now than I was back then. I
Yeah. Yeah.
cry in the middle now.
Yeah.
I don't do
Yeah.
nothing. I just cry.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Oh, my grandson Stump just told today I was about to cry for him. I'm like, oh, man, he just want Papa love. I'm about to cry. But that's surrendering, man.
That's true. That's true. That's key. And
Go
let
ahead,
me say
Herb,
this.
man.
Let me say this, Herb. I don't mean to jump on your time, but I needed because something you said it just reminded me, and this is very important. And for a couple of years, God had allowed me to open my home. I had a men's ministry that I was doing, and God had given me, you know, some real keen insight on identity. You see, when I left Color Me Bad, I did not know who I was because my identity was wrapped around that. See, when you get caught up into sin or idolatry, come on, that false identity, you began to take on that false identity.
Right.
And if that stuff goes, if the fame goes or the money goes, then who are you, right? I
Yeah.
had to find out who I was. And it wasn't until I settled into I am everything that God says that I am. That's my true identity. So
Right.
no longer do I have to feel like I'm less than or secondary
Mm.
or not enough or unworthy because God loves me. I will say this because it's so important. One day, uh, it was New Year's Eve. Watch this. This is so important. It was New Year's Eve, and my pastor wanted to have like a New Year's Eve service going into the new year. And as I was driving to the service, I was just reflecting on the year and all the stuff that the sins that I keep going back to. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? The things that you still love the Lord, but then you still doing dirt at times, stuff that nobody else knows about, stuff that nobody else sees. And watch, I said to the Lord out loud as I'm driving in the car, I said, God, I'm so sorry. Watch this, that I displease you.
Mm.
God said to me this. Now, I need you to take off your religious hats and
Yeah.
hear me. Hear
Right.
in God's heart. God said to me, I'm never displeased with you. I was like, wait a minute, God. If what I'm doing is sin, and I know you hate sin, how are you not displeased with me? He says, I may not like your decisions.
Mm.
I may not agree with your decisions, but to say that I'm displeased with you means that my pleasure in you is conditional, and I have
Mm.
unconditional pleasure
Mm.
in you.
Mm.
Unconditional. That's
Ooh,
what
Mm.
grace is all about. It's not a license to
man.
sin, but what it gives you is gives you the freedom to walk out from under condemnation.
Oh,
God does not condemn, he convicts in love. He disciplines in love. Come on now.
say, look, just because look, you said that me and Mike was just having a conversation about
Unconditional.
conditional and unconditional.
Yeah.
And
Come on.
I was talking, I said, man, God's so unconditional. Our problem is we want to have things and we want to be conditional. That's what we want to, oh, you my man, conditional. Oh, I love you, conditional. But if we walk in the spirit of God, we got to be unconditional all the way around the board. Man, see, thank you, Lord. That was confirmation.
Okay,
Go ahead,
confirmation, bro. Confirmation. Confirmation. All right, Herb.
Man, I just want to say, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can hear you.
Okay, great, man. First of all, I want to say thank you to Anthony and to Michael for this platform, man. This is a much needed platform, um, and I just want to say thank you, man. My hats off to you guys for the work you do behind the scenes. So hats off to you, man. Thank you for having me on, and to my newfound brother, Mr. Color Be Blessed. Hey, man, I'm gonna say this, man, and I want you to hear me, man. I love you, brother.
I love you
Right?
back.
And I say that with all the sincerity, uh, one man to another, man. I love you, man. There are very, 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 very few of us who are able and willing to tell the unadulterated truth about ourselves. And what I know to be true today is that uh, the power the power to reach other people who are struggling in the same ways that I am is for me to be willing to tell the story that
Yes.
maybe doesn't paint me in the best light,
Yeah.
right? Because like I always want to be liked, so I always want to manipulate the truth, and like try to twist things so that I end up looking like a good guy. But the truth is that life is sometimes messy. It gets ugly at times, and when we as men are willing to tell that truth, it gives other people, man, the permission to do the same, man, and find healing for themselves. So I again, man, I want to say thank you. I definitely have to reach out to Sean, man, and tell him thank you, man. Absolutely beautiful story, man. Beautiful testimony, man. And the fact that you sitting with us here tonight on this podcast, man, is proof of God's love, man, for each one of us, man. For real, man. Again, thank you, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Yes.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the platform.
No doubt,
Thank you for the opportunity.
Check this out. I want to just give thanks, first of all to God. Thank all the people behind the scenes. I want to thank the Max Tax business firm. I want to thank Freeman and Umbrella. I want to thank my hitting partner. I will not say his name. I'm just going to call him Detroit Red. And also Billy the Red because I love him so much. But Mike, man, you've been a rock for me. This month ain't a great month for me. I appreciate it, my brother. I'm saying, passing on to you before we close out.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback or springboard from my brother, there are additional persons that I myself would like to extend flowers to. They've been very instrumental for both myself and Anthony and many others. And having said that, Walter Carter of Ask Walt Podcast, Coach Flanagan of Dallas, Texas, On Your Mark Podcast, Freeman, and his guy, Sip. Man, shout out to Sip. Real quickly, I met two gentlemen this past weekend, man. A gentleman that did 48 calendar years, only to find out he was innocent.
On that road. On that road.
Oh, wow.
On that road.
On death row, 48 calendar years to find out. Well, he knew. They found out that he was innocent. But what was so compelling, the story was immaculate. But what intrigued me the most, because I'm a big fan of loyalty, he had a gentleman, that was his cellie for several times, cellmate, roommate, for those of you that don't understand, several times over while the duration. And he's gotten out now, and they're like two peas in the bucket. And I had the opportunity to talk to the cellmate individually. And the cellmate told me, it's not about the money, man. He can have all that, man. That's my guy. Mm-hmm. That's my mind. Because that's what you spoke about, Kevin, when you said unconditional. That's the way my mama used to love me. Now, my baby ain't done that.
Yeah, man.
All along, her baby did all that.
That's
and
right.
some.
Yeah, man.
So, man, shout out to Mississippi, man. I'm going to say it again, man. Man, shout out. Touch my heart, man. I got to get your number because we got to stay in touch, man. Because that's rare. Like you see these 4 squares on this boat? That's rare. This is a rarity. And doing God's work.
Yeah.
According to his plan, let go of the reins that we have, the ideas that God take control. Man, I can't do it. This bigger than me, and I'm pretty strong.
Yeah.
But God, I'm gone.
But God. Hey, again, bro, for everybody that chimed in, man, everybody that, man, took the time out to watch this podcast, I want to thank you guys. Again, this is Mindset Therapy, Real Talk Podcast. Here at Mindset Therapy, we help men, women, and children believe in themselves. Again, we offer 7 simple strategies to developing a positive mindset, and we stand on that 10 toes down and not going to change. We are not compromising our integrity. That's it. That's what it is. Hey, if you want to be uplifted, You want to be celebrated? Come on to Mindset Therapy. We gonna put you on, man. We gonna shine. We gonna shine a light on you. But anything else, it's uncivilized. Again, Mr. Kevin Thornton, thank you for blessing us, blessing the podcast with your grace. Red Hawk, Mike, love you. Herb, appreciate you. And what's his name, Sean?
Sean, man.
Most
Tell
definitely.
Sean I said salute. Thank you. Thank you very much.
For real.
Good night and bless you, brothers.
I bless you all.
God bless you.
Right.